Hey guys, so I hope everyone is holding up as we are still navigating this pandemic, but I wanted to hop on and just go through some additional updates that some of you may be following, some of you may not be following in reference to the virus. I know, again, there is so much information that is circulating, it's kind of hard to know what is correct, what is not, how dangerous is the virus? Is the country reopening? Is it not reopening? Are we going to be wearing gloves and a mask forever? Definitely a lot of things that are in question right now. But, my biggest goal for hopping on and touching base with you guys throughout this was not necessarily to really harp on this virus, but to have people truly understand the bigger picture as to what is happening in the world, number one, and number two, what is really going on with people's health that is causing or allowing this virus to be deadly and fatal in certain individuals. And this has been a lot of what we've been talking about is understanding, that not every single person is going to respond to this virus or any virus the same way because everyone's body is in a different state. Some people are being really proactive, taking care of themselves to the best that they know how. And then there's a lot of other people that don't even know where to begin when it comes to the idea of health, wellness, and taking care of themselves. But overall, there's no one size fits all. There's definitely no one answer to this situation, but it's really being able to take a step back and critically think about where is your system at? Are you tolerating low grade symptoms every day? Are you tolerating the fact that you can't sleep? Are you tolerating the fact that you have an autoimmune condition? Are you tolerating the fact that you constantly have gastrointestinal complaints? Because these things might seem small, but they are all extremely relevant in the immune system being stressed that then makes us more vulnerable to things later down the line, especially in the event that there is a pandemic. So, unfortunately, a lot of the people that I work with, they are walking around blind. They are walking around having no idea what is happening in their body because they're being told, like, oh, well, you just have irritable bowel syndrome. And we don't really know why that occurs, but all you have to do is just take this medication to buffer your inflammation or buffer your symptoms. When in reality, there is always a root cause to your symptoms, but in addition to that, there is always a solution to the root cause. So, I want to get into helping you guys understand a little bit more about this virus and why it has been really impacting certain individuals to a bigger capacity than others. There's been a lot of information that has come to the surface in relation to the autopsies that are being done. And even many doctors that are coming forth saying that we are not treating this properly because this is being classified as a respiratory disease, when in reality, this is looking more like an altitude sickness. This is looking like a hypoxia, which is when the cells are being starved of oxygen. And now at this point, we have enough data for people to, or for physicians and researchers to understand a little bit more about the mechanism that is happening within the body in certain people caused by the coronavirus. So, really, the biggest things that they're finding is that when we're talking about the respiratory system, keep it really simple. The whole reason why we breathe is to bring oxygen into the body. It's not just bringing oxygen into the lungs, it brings the oxygen into the lungs, and then you have your red blood cells, which will then carry the oxygen to your other tissues and organs. And if we do not have oxygen, we do not have the ability to have a healthy body, let alone if your body becomes oxygen starved, then that is going to cause systemic organ failure. And that is what we're seeing with some of these COVID patients is that they are moving from respiratory distress into complete organ shutdown. And in the beginning, it was kind of like, what the heck is happening here? Like this doesn't make sense. This is not a common theme with other types of respiratory illness. And what they're finding is that when we're talking about the red blood cell that carries iron. So, what they're finding is that the virus is actually latching on to specific proteins that are in the red blood cell and pretty much kicking out the iron. So, this poses a couple of different problems because iron in your red blood cell is actually what goes into the respiratory system and grabs the oxygen. And then from there, it goes into the blood, and then that oxygen gets carried to all of your organs. So if we have a virus that is now attaching to essentially the receptor that would the iron would normally, be grabbed by, then we're going to have the iron completely kicked out and displaced. And now we are going to have no ability for oxygen to be carried to tissues. So again, if we are not getting oxygen to different organs, these organs do not have the ability to function properly. But of course, your body has secondary defense mechanisms. So, what will happen is your kidneys will start sending specific hormones and it will start ramping up your red blood cell production by stimulating your bone marrow. But the problem is that this is not a lack of red blood cells, this is a lack of oxygen saturated red blood cells. So the problem still stands because we still have this virus that is displacing the iron molecules, and which is then not allowing for proper oxygenation of the tissues. So what we're going to start to see is that there's potentially markers of the kidneys that are starting to become abnormal. And then what we're also going to see is that ferritin goes through the roof. Ferritin is the storage unit of iron. But again, it's not that the iron just disappears because the virus is in the body. It's now that you have a bunch of free floating iron, which actually is very harmful to the body. If you have a bunch of free floating iron that doesn't really have a place to go, or your body is not getting rid of it fast enough through your urine and your bowel movements, you're going to have a buildup of iron that can leave iron deposits on the liver. It can leave iron deposits in the central nervous system. And, for those of you that have listened to other podcasts and webinars that I've done, one of the things that I've mentioned in cases of neurological degeneration or even multiple sclerosis, when in certain autopsies, they've actually found what they call amyloid plaques, which are when they do the MRI of the brain and they see these lesions on the brain. And that's how they say, oh, you have MS because you have these amyloid plaques on the brain. After autopsy and dissection of the brain, they've actually found that those amyloid plaques are actually iron deposits. And this is going back to a very similar idea. And it's not that COVID or coronavirus is the only virus that can cause this issue with oxygenation of your organs and tissues. There are other types of toxins and infections that can cause something similar. One of them being malaria, another one being a parasite that is very similar to Lyme disease called Babesia, and a variety of other infections, and even heavy metal toxicity like mercury and aluminum. These things can also cause issues with oxygenation of your tissues, which can cause issues with the displacement of this iron. So when we're talking about multiple sclerosis, there is always going to be a reason why the iron is depositing in the brain. And it's depositing in the brain typically because of foreign invaders. Again, not always coronavirus, but it could be something else. So what we need to understand is that if you are a person that has gone and gotten your blood work done and your doctor has said, oh, your liver enzymes are a bit high. Oh, okay, well, you seem pretty healthy, no big deal. If they're high again, we'll worry about it then. So if you have an elevation in your liver enzymes, this means a few things, but number one is one of your vital detoxification organs that also regulates your hormones and regulates your cholesterol is not functioning properly. And that could be because of different infections or toxicities. It also can be because of displacement of iron. And now your iron is depositing in the liver and not allowing the liver to work properly. So this is something that makes you susceptible to other types of chronic illness, but also makes you susceptible to being that person that gets hit by coronavirus and has a hard time to recover or doesn't recover. In addition, if you are diabetic, and when you are diabetic and you have elevated blood glucose levels, your kidneys filter your blood. So naturally, you are going to have issues with your kidneys if you know it or you don't. That is your other detox organ. So again, now this is something that's also going to make you more susceptible to viruses and other types of foreign invaders. So we have this massive cascade effect, but what's happening here in our conventional model is that, oh, you have elevated liver enzymes. Ah, well, you don't have tons of complaints, and you said you don't drink a lot, so you're fine. Oh, you get chronic UTIs, just take an antibiotic. It must be bacteria again. There's probably nothing serious. Oh, you got a kidney stone? Oh, it must run in your family. No big deal. We're not going to dig any deeper than that. Like, this is the reality of what we're experiencing. And then we are seeing people that are getting hit by these viruses, corona included, and they are becoming debilitated or passing away. And we're going, oh my gosh, this must be such a scary, virulent virus, when in reality, there were a variety of warning signs that happened over the course of years that either you normalized or your doctor normalized. And we need to start paying attention, and we need to understand that, number one, if you have symptoms, they're not you just getting old or the fact that, it runs in your family. And if you have abnormal blood labs, you should be demanding for your doctor to give you an explanation. I have so many patients that bring me their blood work. I'm like, did anybody discuss this with you? Did anybody discuss the fact that your cancer marker is elevated? Did anybody discuss the fact that you have 3 autoimmune conditions? What? I didn't know that I had that. I'm like, well, this is in the blood work that you just brought me from your previous physician. So unfortunately, this is the reality, and you all have to be your own health advocate. You need to be in the driver's seat. You need to know that your body is not lying to you, and that it's not in your head, and you're not just depressed or anxious or crazy. There are things that are happening in your body that are happening, but of course we're scared. So when the doctor's like, no, you're fine. Of course we're like, okay, good, I'm fine. But there's always that other side of you saying, there is something wrong and you really should take care of it. But we all find a million reasons that we're busy and we have to take care of the kids, and the kids have camp and I can't afford it and I don't have time, and I have such a long commute, oh, well, the summer's coming, oh, the holidays are coming. There's always a million reasons why we can't take care of ourselves. But if anything, that this pandemic should be opening all of your eyes to a way bigger issue here. Number one is the fact that we are supposed to be so medically advanced and we couldn't even handle a virus. Do you know how many viruses are circulating all the time? We didn't even have the proper way to test it, let alone did we have any ability to do any type of therapy or proactive or preemptive protocols. We are in fear of a virus, but we are supposed to be on the cutting edge medically. That makes absolutely no sense. And then all of the articles that are actually displaying valid information as to how high dose antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin D, and all of these nutrients that you can get from food and supplements, how they are actually research, or they are clinically proven to improve the effects or even be preventative to the virus, these are all being suppressed. There are even organizations coming out stating that it doesn't even matter what you eat. And if you think that what you eat and what you do and the way you think contributes to your health, you're crazy, that doesn't matter. And there are those of us that are sitting back going, oh yeah, well, it must not matter. So let's just get the cheese doodles. Why not? And it's just a lack of common sense at this point. And when you start to critically think and you stop relying on the experts, you start to realize that most of what we're told makes no friggin' sense. And that really stands for a lot of things in conventional medicine, but this also stands for the amount of fear mongering that is happening during this time. And, it really gets to a point that we really have to start thinking for ourselves. We have to also stand behind what our first instinct is. How many of you have had this moment that you're like, is the virus, as aggressive as they're saying? Like, are the numbers right? This doesn't make tons of sense. They're saying the numbers are skyrocketing, but they don't even have tests. It doesn't really, like, is this mask and these gloves, is that really going to protect me? We're all asking ourselves these questions. And then you get on TV, you get on social media, or you have your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, whoever, your friend, and they're now regurgitating their beliefs, their programming, and what they think is right. And then we sit back and we start questioning ourselves, and we're questioning, oh, maybe I am crazy. But also, we're scared to have an opinion. We're scared to challenge the belief systems. We're scared to challenge what the common denominator is. And we stop listening to ourselves and we listen to everyone else. And we also don't want to make waves because everybody gets real, real passionate. And all of a sudden, everyone overnight is an expert on, epidemiology, which is always very fascinating. And I'm saying this for this moment, but I'm also saying this for us to come out of this pandemic as stronger individuals that are trusting ourselves, questioning things, challenging the common belief systems, challenging what we are told is right and what we are told is wrong. Because we find that it's just more comfortable to succumb, even though we deep down know that it's not right or it doesn't make sense. And we lose our identity in the process, and we become followers, and we lose the ability to become leaders. And I know there are so many of you out there that are strong individuals and that you want to make a positive impact on the world, but you have kept yourself small. And you've kept yourself small because you didn't want to make waves, and you didn't want to challenge the belief systems, and you didn't want to make waves. And in reality, what is that doing for you? Because this is what is not allowing you to be fulfilled. This is what is keeping you from being excited to wake up every day. This is keeping you in the job that you hate. This is keeping you in the relationship that you hate. The fact that you're constantly questioning yourself, and the fact that you don't trust yourself enough. And this causes you to lose confidence, and even to really question, who am I and what is my purpose in this world? And it gives us analysis paralysis. We are always doubting ourselves, and then we just paralyze ourselves, and we're just like, I can't get out there, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And you know what? Even if you do get yourself out there, and even this video that I'm making right now, there's going to be a ton of people that are like, she's full of crap, and she's stupid, and who is she? What's her credentials? And then there's going to be a group of people that this was exactly what they needed and exactly what they wanted to hear. So you need to get that out of your mind, that everyone's going to like you and everyone's going to agree with you, because that's just not reality. But there is going to be a population that you serve. And maybe you're not going to get on a video and do this, but maybe you're just going to be that person that shows up as your authentic self to your friends and your family. And you end up leading them or inspiring them in different ways. And, the best part is that we find ourselves like listening to other people. And what I always find interesting about this is that sometimes we're taking advice from people that are absolutely miserable. And this is what you have to sit back and think is, when you have an opinion that you get some type of rebuttal to, or you get pushback, or you get someone that, is coming after you for that comment or that belief system. I will respect your opinion if you truly are your authentic self. You're showing up in the world as who you truly want to be. You're happy, you feel confident, you are really, doing what you love every day and showing up in a big way. But if you're the person that just talks about other people, you wake up miserable, you're in the job that you hate, you're a victim to everything and everyone in your life, please don't give me your opinion, because it doesn't matter. And that sounds brutal, but it's the reality. How many of you are taking advice from people that are completely miserable in their life? They are a victim to everything. They always have an excuse as to why this didn't work out, why this person is terrible. All they want to do is spend time on talking about other people. And they're trying to tell you what's right or wrong or how you should subscribe to their belief system. So this is a time, people, for us to really start asking better questions, for us to challenge the status quo, for us to really start listening to what we are saying to ourselves inside, and to trust that internal dialogue, and to feel comfortable about who we are and what we stand for. That doesn't mean run around and, throw your opinion and your belief systems onto other people, because that's not the reality. Is you have your set of beliefs and values and other people have their own, which is a totally fine thing to have diversity. But it's really just not letting other people dim your light, and not letting other people tell you what you should and shouldn't believe because they want to subscribe to what the common belief system is. So this is really, really a time that we have a lot of time to sit back and reflect, and to ask ourselves better questions, and to understand that we don't have to live in fear of illness, and we don't have to live in fear of a virus. We have to educate ourselves and understand that there is always, always, always a solution. And you don't know the solution right now because you don't even probably know what the root cause to why you don't feel your best is. So it starts there. It starts with leveraging better testing and having someone to help you understand your body so that you can be in the driver's seat and you can have solutions that actually are personalized to you, so that you can not only feel better in this moment, but you don't have to then live a fear-based life when something like this could happen again. And in addition to that is empowering yourself in your health, but also empowering yourself in who you are, what you value, and what are your belief systems, and not always just suppressing that because of what other people tell you you should and shouldn't do. So this is a time to elevate, to shine, and to stop paralyzing yourself, and to stop holding yourself back from all of the things that you've been wanting to do, you've been wanting to say, and you've been wanting to achieve. And this is something that if you open this dialogue with other people, there are so many other people that feel this way. They feel like they've been suppressing themselves. They feel scared to talk about things that they feel like will make waves. When this whole vaccine movement happened in New Jersey, when there was a lot of people speaking out about, their own rights and wanting to have freedom of choice to vaccinate themselves and their children, there were literally thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of people that came together in Trenton, in our state capital, in order to stand behind our rights as people. And there were so many people that I knew in my direct circle that never spoke up about maybe, being pro-choice and having a bad experience with a vaccine. And this is not to get into a vaccine conversation, but yes, there are people that have had bad experiences. There are people that have said, one day after my child received a vaccine, my child died. Like, this is not my opinion. Like, these are things that have happened to real people. And there are people that have had massive loss and grievances that didn't talk about it or didn't even want to go there because they would have been shunned by people around them. And they came together and were like, oh my gosh, like, I have a tribe. I have people that understand the pain that I've been through. I have people that want to stand up for their rights. I have people that value similar things and want to take a holistic approach with their kids. And there were so many friendships and communities that were built based off of that. So you don't even know who your community is if you're not speaking up and you're not, really being you and your authentic self. And guess what, guys? You're going to lose people in your circle. You're going to gain people. But whatever, this is about you being happy. Life is short. So many of us are just keeping ourselves small. We're shutting our mouths. We're suppressing our inner being. And it's for what? For other people, to make other people happy? Who gives a shit? Make yourself happy. Nobody's thinking about you when they go home. They're thinking about their own problems. So why don't you start living for today, living for yourself? And living for yourself also starts with taking care of yourself. One of the ways that you show gratitude to yourself is by doing something for yourself. Go for a run, read a book, tell your kids that you have 8 to 9 p.m. for yourself. You do nothing else other than that. That's mom's time. That's dad's time. Being able to do something for yourself. And if you've been feeling like crap and you've been putting it on hold and putting it on the back burner, it is time to take that step and stop living in fear of your own health and stop thinking that this is just your new normal, because it's not your new normal. This is just what you have been told should be your normal, and that you just have to wait until you're sick enough to be on meds or to get a surgery, which is so not what healthcare ever should have been. But I will tell you, after this pandemic, there is no possible way that people are still going to subscribe to this conventional model, because it doesn't work. It is broken and it is not helping people. And it sure as hell did not help people recover from this virus. So it is time to start thinking differently and to up level and to really be able to step into yourself and who you truly are, and stop just keeping your mouth shut and suppressing yourself. So I hope this was helpful. I really, love all of you guys that watch the videos. And I know that there's just so many of us that are just sitting back scared. We're keeping our mouths shut, and, we're just watching the media, and we're having other people infiltrate our minds. And we are having other people that are telling us we should be scared, that we should wear the mask, and we're doing a disservice, and we're risky if we're not wearing the mask, we're not wearing the gloves. And we have all these people telling us what we should and shouldn't do and should and shouldn't think. And it's weighing on us. And it's time for you to tap into who you are, what you want, what you think is right, and stand behind it. So I love you guys, and I'm really hoping that this is over soon. But we are here at IWG still helping our patients and supporting them from a distance. So in any way that we can help you moving forward, please let us know.